Hi guys, today we will be taking a look at some IEMs in two different price ranges. The Hidizs MS1 Galaxy, which costs only $15, and the Simgot EM6L, which is then around $110. Let's start with the ultra cheap Hidizs IEMs. So these are featuring a single dual magnetic circuit dynamic driver on each and are pretty much tuned to the very frequently used harmony curve, which means that it should be sounding what most people find pleasing to listening. The overall impression of these shells are quite cheap, to be honest, but for this price point I didn't expect anything else. It is a well-shaped, very lightweight resin shell that fits my ears quite well actually. The faceplates have this diamond-like aesthetic going on and it looks okay. These IEMs are very lightweight, that adds to the cheap impression, but they feel pretty sturdy overall. The included ear tips are also okay, and so is the cable. They're kinda like your basic stuff you get with other IEMs as well, but they work for what they are intended. I get a pretty good seal with the largest tip included, and long-term comfort seems to be good as well. Like, this is just your normal silicone ear tips that are included. Sound-wise, these are surprisingly good for a pair under 20 euros, and what you most notice is the quantity of bass. It has a decent amount of punch on them, but it lacks a lot of separation and bass-heavy tracks become very muffled. The middle region is okay, but I noticed the female vocals to be lacking a lot of energy, and I feel like they are just missing something there. Treble is honestly then pretty enjoyable for me, and for my treble sensitive ears I got no annoyances with the sounds there. Separation and imaging is also a bit lackluster, but honestly better than your standard gaming headsets. In games, gunshots and abilities overpower all the finer details by some amount, and no doubt a more premium IEM performs better in these areas as well. On Apex I found myself getting caught off guard plenty of times with this, and pinpointing enemies was a good bit harder than with some more premium offerings, but still they were pretty good for a really entry-level IEM. I was still surprised how usable they still were. I am very used to hearing a lot of detail and footsteps in Apex now that I've used some higher tier IEMs a lot, but I could still perform quite well after realizing that I could not rely on pure audio anymore. All things considered, these are very good for the price for some who is just getting into IEMs and just wants to see if the experience is good for you and maybe is coming from using a cheap gaming headset. These still give a better overall experience and detail. They are not the best, but certainly are usable, especially for the price. Then let's talk about the more premium offering from Simgot, the EM6L. These are a pair of IEMs that are very often recommended for gaming use in mind, and let me tell you, everyone is absolutely right with recommending these. These are featuring a single dynamic and two pairs of balanced armature drivers per side, and from the outside the shell is very sleek looking. The faceplates are black with a glossy finish, and the nozzle is very comfortable sized, but maybe a tad bit too short. There is also no lip on the nozzle, which can introduce some problems with aftermarket tips staying there properly. I tried to use these with my SpinFit tips, but every time they just eventually popped out or got stuck in my ear. This happened even after cleaning my tips properly, so I was kind of forced to use these stock tips with these, but luckily the stock tips are actually okay, and I achieved a very good seal with the largest size, and also like long-term comfort with these was no problem. But if anyone can suggest some good tips for the EM6Ls, comment them down below. I'm all ears. But yeah, you then also get a pretty okay cable with the QDC connector, which means that the IEMs have their connector protruding a bit, which goes inside the connector like this. I'm not the biggest fan of the QDC connector, but yeah, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. Then there is also a solid case to keep your IEM safe when traveling, and this is an okay case. Good sized, can fit my QDLX 5K and the IEMs here, so yeah, I'm pleased. But then let's talk about the sound and my experience with these IEMs. I rarely become very surprised with IEMs anymore, but after listening the first song on Eminem's new album with this, I was really surprised. The bass has a really pleasant rumble and detail, and it really fulfills my needs, and for the bass and for the mids and treble the experience is also very clean and crisp. Both male and female vocals sound very pleasing, and I just overall really enjoy listening to music with these. These are also tuned to the Harman target, but they have some spice on them, I'd say. In games, these also very much excel and punch way above their price bracket. Gunshots feel very immersive, but not overpowering, and I can pinpoint footsteps so incredibly well in Apex with these that it really makes me understand why people have suggested these for FPS games so much in the past. Compared to my previous favorite in this price range, the Truthear Hexas, the EM6L seems to have a wider sound stage, and the imaging is also somewhat better. I didn't get surprised by enemies while using these even once, and I just feel very confident in trusting my ears while wearing them. Tuning wise, the Hexas are more neutral and a bit more boring in a sense, while these just add a pleasant amount of spice to the sounds. These just give me more immersion from the tuning and a bit more better technicalities also. So yeah, I can 100% recommend the EM6Ls for gaming and for music listening. Definitely one of my favorite IEMs to date. I would just love them to change the nozzle a bit and add a small lip to the nozzle to improve the grippiness of aftermarket tips, but other than that, these are pretty much perfect. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.